2 years ago, after a long family reunion, James found himself driving home in the middle of the night. It had been a good time with relatives, but he knew he had to get back to work the next day. So he didn't stay the night. The drive back would take him about 2 hours, and the weather was clear, making for a relatively smooth ride. However, as he started the long drive through the night, the scenery quickly turned more ominous. The roads were winding and isolated, surrounded by dense woods and thick bushes on both sides, creating that eerie feeling of being the kind of place you'd often see in horror movies.
Welcome to Room 13, where every story hides a secret, a place where the unknown comes to life, and the eerie is all too real. Here, we uncover the chilling tales that lurk in the shadows.
James was feeling increasingly exhausted. It wasn't the kind of tiredness where you're sleepy but can push through. No, this was the kind of fatigue that comes out of nowhere and pulls you under like a heavy weight. He knew he wasn't going to last much longer, but the problem was he couldn't find a safe spot to pull over and sleep. Every now and then, he would see headlights from other cars passing by, but there wasn't anywhere that felt like a good place to stop. Around 45 minutes into the drive, it became clear that he wouldn't make it to the next town before he absolutely couldn't keep his eyes open. His exhaustion was taking over, so he made a snap decision. He pulled off to the side of the road, onto a patch of grass hidden behind some thick bushes. He parked the car so that it was as concealed as possible from any passing drivers. It wasn't ideal, but it was the best option in that moment. He checked the time. It was 11:22 p.m., and decided to just close his eyes for a while. The silence in the car was almost deafening, and soon, the rhythmic hum of the engine made it easy for James to drift off into an uneasy sleep. But not long after, he was jolted awake by a strange scratching sound coming from outside his car. His heart skipped a beat as he glanced at the clock, 11:50. The sound lasted only a few seconds before stopping, and James, still incredibly tired, dismissed it as something trivial. Maybe it was just an animal passing by, or perhaps a branch brushing against the car. Too tired to investigate, he shrugged it off and let himself fall back into sleep. But sleep wasn't easy to come by. A little while later, the scratching sound returned. This time, it was louder and more persistent. He opened his eyes, his mind already alert. Checking the clock, he saw that it was now 12:40 a.m. The sound was still there, scraping against the side of the car, dragging on longer than it had the first time. His heart started racing. The logical side of him told him it was probably just an animal again, but then, why would it return almost an hour later, after leaving him in peace the first time? Something didn't sit right. His eyes scanned the rearview mirror, and for just a split second, he thought he saw a dark shape darting into the forest. It was fast, too fast for an animal. His mind immediately jumped to the worst-case scenario. The story of the hook killer flashed through his mind, a story that had terrified him as a child. The urban legend told a couple parked on a secluded road, only to be terrorized by a man with a hook for a hand. The man had scratched their car, and then, when the boyfriend went to check, he was killed. James couldn't shake the image of that. His thoughts raced and panic set in. Without a second thought, he decided to leave. Whatever was out there, he wasn't going to wait around to find out. He slammed the car into gear and sped off, tearing away from the roadside. His headlights illuminated the winding road ahead, and a bend appeared just up ahead. As he came around the curve, his eyes caught sight of something unsettling. A car was parked on the side of the road, the driver's side door wide open. The car wasn't there when he passed earlier. He slowed down instinctively, glancing at the empty car as he passed. There was no one in sight, but then something made him look back in his rearview mirror. He didn't see anyone at first, but within a moment, a figure appeared, someone sprinting around the corner, charging toward his car. James's blood ran cold as the man, his face twisted in anger, started waving his arms and screaming at the top of his lungs. Hey you, get the fuck out of your car. Now, the man shouted, his voice shrill and terrifying in the quiet of the night. Panic hit James like a freight train. His heart pounded in his chest, and without thinking, he slammed his foot on the gas pedal. He sped away as fast as he could, weaving through the curves of the road. The man's shouts faded into the distance, but the fear never left him. He didn't dare look back again. His car sped down the road, the engine roared in his ears, and he didn't stop until he reached a more populated area. He made sure to keep an eye on his rear-view mirror every few seconds, just in case the man had followed him, but he never saw him again. The rest of the drive was a blur of adrenaline and disbelief. James couldn't stop thinking about the events of the night. What had really happened? Was it just a coincidence? Or had he narrowly avoided something far worse? His mind played over every moment, over the strange noises, the open car door and the screaming man. But there were no answers, just a gnawing feeling that he had narrowly escaped a much darker fate. When he finally arrived home, it was well past 3 a.m. He stumbled inside, his body exhausted from the drive and the terror of the night, but his mind kept racing. He didn't want to tell anyone. No one would believe it, and it was too strange, too unsettling to put into words. He didn't sleep well that night. How could he? The image of the man running toward him, the anger in his eyes, haunted his thoughts. And that was the last time James ever slept on the side of a deserted road. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the risks of the unknown, especially when you're alone and vulnerable in the middle of nowhere.